winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award. This is KTUL, Tulsa's Channel 8 News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kim Jackson. Dangerous heat beating down on eastern Oklahoma tonight. It's the third day we've seen triple-digit temperatures. IMSA already issuing a medical heat alert for the day, asking everyone to take steps to stay cool. Channel 8's Amy Jensen is live at the Day Center where hundreds of people are taking shelter. Amy?
Kim, that's right. I am standing outside of the Day Center where everybody else would rather be inside with the water and the air conditioning, but this heat is what's caused this shelter to be packed all day. What do you think of the weather?
Brutal.
Oh, it's hot out there.
It's very, very hot.
When the weather starts heating up, shelters tend to start filling up.
Of course, we want them to come in out of the heat. We sure don't want them to end up in the emergency room for heat exhaustion or something, or heat stroke.
Associate Director Mac Halton says they've done a few things to help make everyone here feel more comfortable.
We're pushing hydration big time. And so we have bottled water and ice that we put out periodically. And we make announcements over the intercom as well that to please hydrate as much as possible.
And they've extended their hours, opening 30 minutes earlier and staying open 30 minutes later than usual.
That gives them a little extra time inside to cool before they have to go line up to get into their shelter.
On a cooler day, this porch is usually filled with people hanging out, but the only brave ones out today are the birds.
I stay under this roof because it is cool.
Phil McPherson has lived in Oklahoma for several years, and even during this 100-degree weather, he wears a knitted hat.
Keeps the sweat inside there, and then when the wind blows through, it cools it off.
Whatever it takes to stay cool. Kim, they are asking for water bottle donations or money to help keep the people inside safe from this heat. Live in North Tulsa, Amy Jensen, Tulsa's Channel 8.
John 3:16 is open for men throughout the evening, and the Salvation Army is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for anyone needing shelter, food, or water. A list of cooling stations and hours listed on our website. Now, we could see some slight relief starting on Monday. Meteorologist Aaron Reeves is here to confirm that and have a look at our first forecast.
It looks like we'll see at least a slight cool down, a brief slight cool down then, but hey, we'll take it this time of year. It's the dog days of summer. Very hot out there. Best to try to not be outside. I tried to mow my yard early yesterday and it was still hot. Didn't make a whole lot of difference there. Whether that excessive heat warning runs through tomorrow, heat index values 107 to 113 is what we're seeing out there right now. And that's for all those counties in pink. The orange counties are the heat advisory, so still hot there. Temperatures right now around 100 degrees in the metro, feeling more like 110, feeling like 100 or more all across Green Country. And throughout the evening, the temperature slowly falling, but remaining very warm and very muggy through 11 p.m. with temperatures dropping gradually into the 80s. We'll take a full look at your forecast and include some rain chances here in a little bit.
Thank you, Aaron. Firefighters are rushing to put out wildfires near Yosemite Park tonight. So far, the flames have scorched almost 120 square miles, and close to 5,000 people have been forced to evacuate. Now, many of them are returning to find their homes destroyed. Several people who live there say they underestimated just how fast the fire moved.
I think we really didn't think it was actually going to come through there like it did.
As close as it came for me, I was a fool.
In the Midwest, people are dealing with a different kind of danger. Powerful storms pounded parts of Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin with heavy rains. The storms were strong enough to even split and knock over trees. New tonight, a man is being hailed a hero after helping a child escape a hot car in Owasso. Police say on July 3rd, a daycare owner took a group of children to see a movie, but forgot the 4-year-old boy in the back seat. Channel 8's Ethan Hutchins has details from police and the latest on the Good Samaritan.
I guess he was asleep.
A daycare worker forgetting a child in a van while watching a movie with other children.
How long were you guys inside?
Since like 12. He was out here for like 2 hours.
Owasso police providing us this video of Shamika Collins being interviewed and later arrested. The owner of a Tulsa daycare tiptoed childcare taken in for child neglect. All of this thanks to this man, Michael Anderson.
A lot of people may have walked by and not seen a young 4-year-old child slumped down in a van like that, but this individual did.
Owasso Police Lieutenant Nick Boatman says Anderson spotted the child in the van. Boatman says Anderson noticed the toddler was drenched in sweat and decided to take action.
He took the child inside to get some water, to get him some relief, and then called 911.
Today, the department celebrated his actions with a certificate, but Boatman says Anderson declined an interview, not wanting any fanfare.
He didn't do this in order to make a statement or to be on TV. He wanted to make sure this child was okay.
Today, parking spaces were hard to find at the Owasso Theater. A hot day again with the deadly potential of leaving a child in the car. Boatman just hopes more people can respond like Anderson did from now on.
I mean, we're glad that the child is okay. We're glad that Mr. Anderson was there to help save that child, but always do another count.
Boatman says according to the National Weather Service, the temperature outside that day was 85 degrees with every window rolled up. In Owasso, Ethan Hutchins, Tulsa's Channel 8.
We are told that Collins is the owner of the child care center in Tulsa. Our calls to the daycare center today for a response were not returned. A Muskogee doctor's medical license is now suspended. A complaint filed with the Oklahoma Medical Board says 14 of Dr. Scott Lilly's patients have died from overdoses. Lilly hasn't practiced medicine since the DEA visited the cardiology clinic of Muskogee in 2015. On top of the suspension, Lilly must pay a $20,000 fine and get state approval before taking any job in the medical field. Robbery investigators want to know who assaulted and robbed a delivery driver near 23rd and Southwest Boulevard. It happened at the Western Pines Apartments around 1 this morning. Police say 2 men approached a Domino's delivery woman after she dropped off the order. We are told the pair implied they had weapons. They then knocked her down, hit her in the head, taking the money in the process. Investigators say they also groped her before getting away. The men were wearing all black. Traffic is now normal after an accident shut down a part of the downtown loop for more than an hour this morning. It happened on the southbound ramp leading onto the Broken Arrow Expressway. The car left the road, hitting the median and rolling into the westbound lanes. All 3 people inside were hurt, including the 16-year-old driver and the 11-year-old boy inside. He was thrown out of the car and is recovering from serious injuries. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers reaching a deal to impose new sanctions on Russia. It also includes sanctions against Iran and North Korea. Should it pass, Congress would have to have new veto power to block any attempts by the White House to ease those sanctions. And now the White House will vote on the measure this upcoming Tuesday. Meanwhile, President Trump is switching gears and focusing more on the military. President Trump at the aircraft carrier, the USS Ford, the most advanced aircraft carrier built ever. But there's a lot of heat coming in over reports that Attorney General Jeff Sessions met with Russians about the campaign. Another big topic of discussion, the president's earlier comments on picking someone else had he known that Sessions would recuse himself.
Remember, if the president fires the attorney general and tries to replace him, that's a position that gets confirmed by the U.S. Senate.
And there's a new communications director for the White House. Anthony Scaramucci hasn't always been a fan of the president, but today he tweeted that he would be deleting his old post because his views have changed and, quote, shouldn't be a distraction. Coming up, it's not every birthday that you get to spend with your entire family. We'll show you just how many family members are joining in with Miss Mary Thompson for her 95th birthday. Welcome back, everybody. A restaurant in Oklahoma isn't just packed with big crowds, but their food is packed with authentic Mexican flavors. It's called Nachitos Mexican-American Grill. Lucas Ross takes us there in tonight's Discover Oklahoma preview.
To find good Mexican food, one doesn't have to look any further than my hometown, Minco, Oklahoma, that has Nachitos. Let's go see what's for lunch. Nachitos has a Mexican-American menu that they say with every good Mexican restaurant, the proof is all in the queso. Let's see how they do. I didn't have a doubt in my mind, but I knew they were going to be great, but yeah, this is great.
Our name is Nachitos Mexican-American Grill. Our fajitas are crazy around here. Fajita Friday. Fajitas for 2, that's a big hit. You know, Thursday nights we have enchilada, all-you-can-eat enchiladas for $8.99. So you come in here and you can put down 20 enchiladas. We're going to give them to you for the same price.
They have something called a Big Nacho Burrito. Huh. I think I'll get that. I mean, how big can it really be?
We like the enchiladas. Well, it's just really good Mexican food, and we really enjoy it. Their chips and salsa are really good.
Big nacho burrito right there. It's about
Good
2,000
night.
burritos.
Making me hungry. Well, for more on this story and others on the places that make our state so special, watch Discover Oklahoma right after our newscast. And happy birthday to Mary Thompson from Beggs, Oklahoma. Not just any birthday, but her 95th. And to celebrate about her family, about 130 of her grandkids, great-grands, spanning 5 generations, joined her. Miss Mary also celebrated with her nieces, nephews, and 9 of her 10 children.
Makes me feel good. Real good. I don't hardly feel like I'm 95, but I know I am.
And Miss Thompson says she thanks God for her long life and for all of her children.
Now, from the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center, your first warning forecast.
Wow, 130 grandchildren. That's a lot of names to keep up with. And temperatures around our neck of the woods are very hot, which is a lot to keep up with for us in the Weather Center. Is a lot of high numbers out there. And as a result, we're under an excessive heat warning. Heat index values around 110 for a lot of us. Temperatures over 100. So bottom line, stay out of the heat and try to stay hydrated and take breaks if you do have to be in the heat. Here's a look at today's highs cooler, if you want to call it that, off to our east where we were in the upper 90s. 101 in Tulsa. Look at Bartlesville, 104, and out to our west, Ponca City and Stillwater, making it up to 105. So certainly a hot day across green country. We're still at 100 in the city, a little cooler. Once again, if you can call that cool, off to our east and still around 100 from Tulsa to the west. Dew points in the 70s, a lot of moisture in the air, very muggy and stuffy out there. As a result, we feel more like 110 in Tulsa, 106 in Wagner, 111 in Coffeyville and Tyro, 103 is what it feels like in Tahlequah, feels like 108 in Bristow and Stillwater. So a very hot day across green country. It looks like we'll see another hot one tomorrow, and then maybe some slight relief. A lot of sunshine, severe clear out there, as we call it in the weather world. That just means no clouds, nothing going on except dry conditions for us. 100 at Tulsa International Airport, south wind at 15, at least adding some ventilation, feels like 110. The high today has been 101 after starting off at 80, so that's what we're looking at. Showers and storms in Kansas, a boundary up there that eventually will make its way down to our neck of the woods. Some isolated showers across western Oklahoma and southeast Kansas. Not going to amount to much, but this front as it moves our direction eventually could maybe give us some showers and storms. More on that in a second. So there's some showers up there well to the north of Bartlesville. Those should stay in southeast Kansas. Also some activity across western Oklahoma. Tomorrow, though, that front drops down into our neck of the woods. Marginal risk for a couple of severe storms, mainly for hail and gusty winds as those storms collapse. Maybe an isolated heavy downpour. And then after that, hey, we heat right back up. It really never goes away. We just knock a little bit of the edge off of it. Here's the heat index forecast for the rest of the week through about Thursday. We start going back uphill toward the end of the week. So more hot weather on the way as we keep going with that. Futurecast brings that front down into our area overnight. Maybe a little shower storm, but I think we'll mainly wait for that till the afternoon hours. I think that's a bit overdone in the morning. Upper 90s, mid 90s, heat index values 103 to 106 with a few scattered showers and storms. As we head into Monday, starting off around 80, then as we head into Monday afternoon, mid 90s, but we should see that rain quit. And then as we look at the rest of the week, we'll see those temperatures in the mid 90s early in the week, thanks to those little bit more in the way of some clouds and storms in the area. Warm back up, and then maybe another front tries to slide back in Friday of next week. We'll have to see how that all pans out.
Man, it's been hot.
It's that time of year, right?
All right, thank you so much, Aaron. Thousands of fans are packing San Diego's Comic-Con this weekend. We'll have a look at what all you can find there right after this.
Hey, it's Shira Lazard, the International Comic-Con in San Diego, where over 130,000 fans gather annually. And when it started in 1970, it definitely didn't look like this. There's everything from comics to movie stars.
I don't like that term, villain. You know, we are on different sides. But I think there are plenty of CEOs around America, at least, who would be able to talk about preserving the business status quo.
To ghost busting.
It started with Aykroyd, and then it was Aykroyd and I, and then I brought in Harold, and it was the three of us.
The best thing thing though about Comic-Con has to be the costumes and the props. Comic-Con runs all weekend long, ending Sunday. For Circa News, I'm Shira Lazar.
PGA Tour history was made this morning at the British Open, and the Oklahoma City Thunder announced their latest player signing. Details coming up next.
The Tulsa's Channel 8 Sports Desk, powered by your Oklahoma Ford dealers.
Zach came up to me and said, "You're in the history books." I was like, "What are you talking about?" You know, so.
Well, history's good. It's amazing what can happen when it isn't pouring or windy at the Open Championship, as Brandon Grace of South Africa became the first golfer to record a 62 in a major event. His 8-under 62 was a bogey-free round and helped move Grace to 4-under going into Sunday's final round. Naturally, better conditions will likely mean better scores for the rest of the field, too. And for OSU alum Rickie Fowler, he still had plenty of work to do in order to catch up to leader Jordan Spieth. Rickie had a good day, as Fowler almost pulling out a hole-in-one on this short par 4 fifth. Instead, he would have to tap it in from about 2 feet for eagle. Rickie ultimately shooting 3-under 67, and Jordan Spieth still pulling away. Had a 2-stroke lead going into Saturday. Now a 3-stroke lead. Spieth improving to 5-under on the day. Now 11 under for the event. Taking a quick look at the leaderboard. Matt Kuchar still holding steady, though, in second place, now at 8 under, but Fowler and fellow OSU alum Alex Noren still in the top 15 going into Sunday.
And you control your own destiny, and sometimes that can be a big thing on your mind. Versus, you know, I need help, and I'll just go out there, try and play well. If I get help, great. If I don't, then I don't. So it's a little bit tougher to sleep, but I've been fine recently. I expect to be. If not, I can sleep during the day tomorrow. We don't tee off till pretty late.
You have to give NBA center Dakari Johnson credit. Despite being a McDonald's High School All-American in 2013, it's been a humbling uphill battle since. His 2 years at Kentucky, Johnson had to back up some really good players. Then after being a second-round draft pick 2 years ago, Dakari's still grinding it out. The Thunder clearly haven't given up on the 7-foot center, though, from Brooklyn. The team announced this morning they've re-signed Dakari Johnson to a new 2-year deal. Per team policy, the financial details weren't disclosed. Looking at Dakari's resume, well, it's 2 years in the NBA in the developmental league, D-League. It's actually called the G League now. I think it's because of Gatorade. Johnson's done well with the Blue. He was all-rookie team in 2016, then a D-League All-Star and first-teamer this past season. Dakari's only 21 years old, so OKC is hoping he can still improve. If familiarity breeds contempt, then Cavs star point guard Kyrie Irving is way too familiar with superstar LeBron James, because national reports say Kyrie wants out of Cleveland. He asked owner Dan Gilbert for a trade last week. The reason? Kyrie reportedly wants a bigger role and no longer wants to play with LeBron James. Potential landing places include the Spurs, Knicks, Heat, and Timberwolves. It's a rivalry that dates back well over a century. And part of the reason we know that is because last year the Chicago Cubs won the World Series for the first time in 108 years. Cubbies and arch rival Cardinals have been average at best this season. The good news is the same goes for the rest of the NL Central. Cards took the first of 3 games yesterday at Wrigley Field. John Lester had no runs, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts through 7 2/3 innings. Then seeing there, Paul DeJong and Randall Grichuk back-to-back solo home runs. That would give the Cards a 2-0 lead heading into the bottom of the 8th, but the Cubbies answer with a pair of runs, and then Mike Rizzo, this base hit, bringing in Chris Bryant all the way from first base. RBI to give the Cubs their first lead of the day. Chicago holds on to win 3-2. And evidently, my parents were 5 rows behind home plate. I didn't notice. I mean, they were the ones wearing red while everyone else was wearing blue, but I seem to somehow miss that.
Oh, no. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our coverage continues online at KTUL.com. We'll see you back here tonight at 10. Have a good evening, everyone.